Good afternoon, everyone. Jimmy T is back, and today we are going to be talking about Balikbayan Box. Balikbayan. I'm going to keep repeating that because I think I mispronounced it forever. Maybe I still am. I hope not. But Balikbayan Box, it's a box, a very sturdy box, designed to go sea cargo to the Philippines at a very slow but cost-effective way. And quickly, I'm using a company called FOREX Premium. I will have specific information, detailed information, the 800 number, the website, and some cost information for anyone that is interested. So far, they've been really lovely to work with. And a little bit of I think Balikbayan basically stands for something like going home or sending back home. And, there's lots of Filipinos that have to leave the country and work abroad to support their family. And that's a subject that I want to get into down the road when I talk more about Filipino culture, the country, the economy, a lot of things that I know on a relatively superficial level, but I will be interested in getting a deeper understanding and sharing that information with you. I think it's important to know about the country that you're living in and a little bit about, or a lot about the culture, the beauty, the struggles, the good, the bad. Every culture has it, but I think it's a nice thing to be more aware of a little of history and the general vibe of a country that you're choosing to live in and start a life in, which is what I'm doing. But for today, it's real kind of straightforward. This is what I've chosen to do is ship a few of these boxes to my friend in the Philippines. One little caveat here, or rather correction. I think I said on an earlier video that I had the good fortune of being able to send these boxes because I knew somebody there. Well, it turns out after I contacted the company and said, I want to give you guys a shout out. Is that okay on my YouTube channel? And they said, of course. They let me know that you can ship things there and they will hold them in their holding warehouse just north of Manila. And I was unaware of that. I thought for some reason if you don't know anybody, you can't ship a box. So I misspoke in that regard. So that's good news for anyone who might want to send a few things, perhaps in advance of their trip. Or you move there and there's a number of things that you want that you're missing, whatever. You might have a family member or a friend use one of these shipping services and get this stuff to you. Now, it's not air freight. It better not be anything with a big time factor. It's not expeditious. What it is it's affordable. So, and I think this particular box, this is, I think, called their jumbo box. It is 28 inches by 23 and a half inches by 18 and a half inches. And I'm gonna get this thing taped up, set it up so you can kind of see the volume of it. I'm actually going to do a little experimental packing today just to see, kind of dry fit things in there to see if what I'm thinking about sending is going to make sense. And, this gets into a tricky little part of doing this stuff is it is me wanting to go there really light, unencumbered. And outside of these two boxes now that one box I've already shipped, and this one, I want to go there with my carry-on and backpack, like I've mentioned. I had this idea that I was going to, get a couple of large suitcases and drag that much stuff along, plus, and check a couple of bags, plus my carry-on, plus my backpack. And I'm like, no, as I look around, I'm like, no, I don't need to drag. I don't have anything that can't be replaced. And quite honestly, most of my stuff is fairly old. I buy stuff and I hold on to it for a long time, especially with clothing and all kinds of stuff like that. So besides some real important, some electronics, computer, a few wireless speakers, a couple of things like that that I don't need to replace now, those will be a couple of things I bring with me. But the trap you can fall into is sending too many things, dragging too many things there. And it's the same philosophy when you have a home, which I've talked about. You don't have to be relocating, moving to another country to kind of adopt this idea of downsizing and getting rid of stuff that doesn't serve you. Stuff that you have to clean, that you have to look at, that you have to think about, things that just crowd your life. It crowds it physically, it crowds it psychologically. But I'm struggling with this because I'm getting rid of so many things, pretty much everything. I'm like, man, am I going to get to the Philippines and freak out that I don't have anything besides my clothes and my computer and phone, which at this point, that's really all I do need. But I made the decision to send a few things, and a few of these things I'm sending to my friend. They are some gifts, a few things, a few recycled things that were mine that I think that she'll appreciate and be able to use. And it's always fun to receive one of these boxes. If you live in the Philippines and you're receiving one of these things, yes, I'll have some personal things that are just for me. It's a little bit about me, but also a few things for my friends that she can use. And so that's cool. But the trap of sending too many things there. But a couple things that I decided to do so that I don't freak out are just a few grounding items. And this might sound goofy, but whatever. In my first box, I sent a number of things, but one thing I sent was this little tiny side table. It's like a stainless steel kind of C-shaped side table that you can kind of slide underneath a chair. Basically, because of the way I've lived for so long, smaller places, spaces that have to be flexible and versatile, and how I use them for work, for reconfiguring, living, working, all that kind of stuff. So I've had this little table for, I don't know, 18 years or something. And usually if I'm sitting out here, watching the sunset or watching the sun come up or whatever, it's a little thing I sit there and I put my coffee on, or I do some work on it. So I actually sent that. Could I have gotten a little table in the Philippines? Yes, they have tables. But it was one of those little personal items that I thought, you know what, it fits in this box. And I'm going to go ahead and send it. I also sent some extra shoes because I wear a size 12, not always easiest to find. I sent some extra pants. There's these pants that I got at Kohl's. I just think they're perfect. They're stretchy, they're lightweight. And once I wore a pair of these a few times on my last vacation, I'm like, if I'm going to have a pair of long pants on, and sometimes you just want that. It's not a function of being cold, needing long sleeves or long pants. It's about sun protection. You'll see a lot of people are like, it's damn hot. Why do they have long shirts and long pants? It's like, it's sun protection so you don't get baked. So, I bought 6 pairs. That's something I do when I really like something, and it fits and it works. I bought 6 pairs in like 4 different colors, couple of duplicates. And I also bought 3 pairs of the same tennis shoes because they're a size 12, the proper width, and I found shoes that really make my feet pretty happy. And that's really important. So I did not want to try to go and figure out how to find new shoes. So, I have tennis shoes that'll keep me rocking for whatever, my first 2 years there, without having to swap them out. And then, I sent some odds and ends, a few things that I couldn't, a little bit of artwork. Some vases, because I like plants, I like fresh flowers. I thought, you know what, a couple of these nice vases that I've had for a long time, wherever I live, it'll be nice to set those on a countertop, a tabletop, and buy some, you know, some local flowers and put those in. And those items to me, I just call grounding. It's something, it's a few things that are special to you, that, that are familiar to you. And for some people, that's not going to be necessary. I'm a kind of a sentimental person. I'm becoming less, I guess, in some ways, as far as my attachment to sentimental things. I still am sentimental very much emotionally about all kinds of stuff. But what I'm learning, and now I've done a deep dive on it, is getting rid of stuff. And I don't need the physical things to still feel, you know, a certain emotional connection to, you know, a place or a person or, you know, a friend, all kinds of stuff. But that's what I decided to do. So I sent my first box on February 2nd. And that box is now in a port in Taiwan. It may have left already, and it should be to my friend's house. I think it says it's due for an April 6th delivery. Now that might be April 6th into a port in Manila. Then it still has to get from that port to her doorstep. So that could take a few more days for sure. Okay, so let's let it rip. I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this box, and I'm gonna try a few different things that I think I'm gonna ship. You're gonna find out right with me whether this makes sense to try to ship some of this artwork, this printer, and a couple of other things. I might find out real quick that it doesn't make sense, and I might change my decision on this second box. This thing is massive. It's a big box. Standard packing tape. That's right. We've all seen these. We've all used it. I basically do assembly with that, and then I use this strapping tape. It might be overkill. Maybe I don't need it. It's reinforced with fiberglass. And to keep in mind, you know, if this is packed properly, and really all the seals, all the edges, so that nothing's stuck out, nothing's gonna catch, I think you're good to go. When they pick it up, they put these those nylon straps on it, one direction, the other. He shows up with that strapping gun to go ahead and secure the box. So I think you're good to go. But let's go ahead and get this assembled and then see if this stuff is gonna fit. Now, before I tape this thing and get it really, really secured, I'm just throwing this one piece of tape on it. Just so I can take a couple of these items and seeing if it works. Because if it doesn't, I might do a quick 180 on this decision to send this box. So we're going to try a couple of these items and see what's going to happen here. This is my printer box. I could ship the printer without the box, but the box is going to, you know, it is going to protect it, and you know what? I am seeing right now, if I ship this thing, there's really not going to be room for my artwork, because my artwork has to go in at an angle. Let's just try one of those pieces. I have a couple of pieces of artwork like this that I thought would be nice and bright for wherever I'm living, or for my friend to have in her place, until I retrieve them. But they're 24 inches square. They have to go in at an angle which they will, but not with this printer box. So it looks like the printer is going to get sold. Yeah, this is a tough decision. I was going to do all this in advance, but I think it's helpful to kind of see the live action of trying to go through a decision process like this, because I still am struggling with wanting to still have a few things that right now I perceive as maybe it's important, maybe it would be nice to have. I think there's a good chance that I'm going to shift my mind on sending this second box. I'm gonna have to think about it a little bit more and get a little better collection right now of what I think I want to put in it. Right now, the printer doesn't make any sense. No big deal. I'll get another printer when I'm there, and that's not an issue at all. Some of this stuff just starts to get, I'm getting close to this move, and some of these final decisions and everything, as it really shrinks down to the critical issues of final decisions. Some things get a little bit more difficult, so I'm gonna contemplate this for a couple of more minutes. So a quickie little update. Trying to get that box packed and going through the decisions and filming it just started to bum me out. So basically, I dropped it right there. I went out on a 3-hour walk downtown, sat at Starbucks for a few minutes. More like an hour, and just sometimes this process it starts to wear me out. I've been at this a long time. I've been at this a lot of months. I've sold over 100 different things. I've made a ton of decisions, and it's starting to wear on me for sure. But tomorrow it's going to be 72 and sunny here in Chicago. I'll get out. I'll move. I'll feel better. I've shifted gears. I still am going to ship this box. I've changed my mind on what I'm going to ship. I'm going to be a little more selective. The artwork, that's going to be sold on Facebook Marketplace. The pieces are printed on aluminum. They have this very sensitive coating, and any flex in those things, it's going to crack. It's just not worth it. And I will, when I'm there, I will frame some of my photography, which I've wanted to do for years. It all sits on a computer. I'll put that on some of my walls, buy some things from some local artists. I don't need these items. And I left this video up. I wasn't even going to put this whole Balikbayan Box video up because it was somewhat fragmented, and in the end, I just shifted gears on what I wanted to send. But, I think there's value in sharing that. I don't do everything perfectly. I don't do everything nice and polished. I could re-edit and do all those things. I try not to. This is the process, and if you're ever going to go through it, or if you are, you'll have ups and downs where you're in a state of kind of flow. Everything's going good. You're purging. Things are coming together, decisions are being made, and then you'll hit some friction points where it gets a little much. And today it was a little much. But there will be a follow-up video once I get my final items decided as far as what's going to go in this box. And the last little thing I'll mention is I'm waiting for that first box to arrive. Again, I have great confidence in this company. They are well reviewed, FOREX shipping. But I do want that box to land at my friend's place. So I know, hey, it left Chicago from the front door of my place. It showed up in the front door of her place, albeit about 9 weeks later, which is what I was told. So as soon as that thing shows up and she confirms that she has it and everything's in good shape, this second box is going to be ready to rock, and I'll call and have that picked up. So more details on exactly what's going in and some packing techniques to make sure it's appropriate. So my friends, be sure to hang loose, and it's greatly appreciated if you like, subscribe, and share. It does help. Okay, until next time.